Let's get rolling.
Okay, tables going, cameras going.
Let's call Board of Finance meeting to order, April 22nd, 2013, 7 p.m. in the Daniel S. Rivero Senators Chamber. Item 2, public participation. Would anybody in the public like to make a comment or speak?
Good.
Seeing none? Beautiful. Go to 3, review of public hearing notes. That's not a, we don't have to vote on that, just to review it.
Right, it's not official.
Right.
Minutes, but there was some information in there.
Yeah, Sue Gardner's name wasn't on there as being present.
Okay. I'll put Sue right in there.
And another question I had, Mr. Chair, is Bonnie stated how much money is used in the $2,100,000 in 2013-2014 budget year. I know there was an ordinance passed a few years ago that anything over $2 million, 3% would be added per year and used in the general operating budget. Is there any truth to that ordinance?
Yes, there is.
There is. And the fact is, we just don't know where we stand with Wheeler Brader right now.
No, that's why we did the $2.5 million last year instead of going up that amount, because we didn't know, because they were kind of threatening to take away some of our ash. But I think it should come in pretty good, because I think they probably have traffic problems if they try to bring it all up to Millbury.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get enough.
So we're back in good graces, as I understand it so far.
Yeah.
Now.
We're getting a steady supply still from Hartford. We're even getting some coal ash, which is, as you know, is at a premium. We just haven't got the reconciliation for the...
we don't have it yet, so we can't act on it. So that's the question I had with regard to that. Scott, while you're here, how are we doing on a new contract with Wheeler Brader?
Dave and I were just talking about that. The ball is back on their court, and we are waiting for them to sign it. We found out that they don't have to go through their board of directors. There's just one person that has to sign it. Of course, this has been going on for about 2 months now, but we're confident, we're hopeful, but we won't know anything until they sign it. If we do, we'll expand it probably another 5 to 6 million cubic yards of capacity. So it could be a good thing.
Sorry, 2.
What's that?
2 to 5.
5 to 6.
5 to 6.
And the only other correction I had on what page 3 of 5, you said, Member Benoit, there is 300,000 that is coming in as aid. What I said is there is 300,000 shown on a 5-year capital plan, of which will be used for fiscal year 2013 and 2014. So it's just and then the big issue comes up on page 4. What is the unassigned fund balance and how much 2011-2012 budget year added? Reason I say blah, 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 and I asked the board to consider this amount brought in last year and overtax the taxpayers, blah, 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 blah. But where I'm coming from, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, is we didn't set the mill rate. We talked about a mill rate of, I have 2 numbers, and I'd like to find out which one is accurate. Is it a 0.13 increase or a 0.19 increase?
0.13.
0.13. So that's what we had talked about. I mean, I personally think we should leave it as is. I don't think we should lower the mill rate for 1 year and then have to bump it up twice the following year because of the new school.
Or anything else that comes in.
What's that?
Or anything else that comes in.
Or anything else.
This gets tossed around by the same group of people every year for the last 15 years.
It's just not a prudent thing to do.
I think what we did and kept it at 1.3 is fine.
Yeah. And it's coming from people in the district
more comments on the notes
You know,
that were taken?
I had one other comment left for Doug. Would it be fiscal year 2014 to 2015 that we have some bonding to be done with the school? Is there an amount due? Because you only start yours, Scott, when is it? When do you start? What
Well,
year?
I mean, you have to do
What fiscal
temporary,
year?
you have to do temporary borrowing
That's
while
what I'm saying.
construction's, but if you put a shovel in the ground, let's say June of 14, then you're looking at probably a year and a half process, so.
So how much is in the temporary borrowing?
Right, you
Bond
just,
till next year.
right, you'd be paying the bond the next year, you'd
Right.
just be paying interest at, you know, probably what? I think I had figured it out, it's like
But how much is-
65,000 per year, I mean, it's
Yeah, because
Oh, it's very,
very
less than
minimal.
1%.
It's
Yeah,
really
right.
less than
On
1%.
the last one,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
so it's only a temporary.
And it's only based on the town share.
Right,
Because the way I see it is, we only pay the bonding once the building is completed.
right.
So we'd have to probably do 2 temporary borrowings
Yeah.
during the course of the project.
One at 65, and what would the other one be at?
It will depend
It
on what the
depends.
main.
How much they go forward in terms of getting it completed.
But the most you'd be paying on is 16.5,
Right.
just your share.
And we hope that it's going to be less than that.
Yeah. So,
No, we don't do
Okay, let's move on to 4, correspondence. Quarterly reports from the Board of Ed and the general government. It was brought to the attention of the Board of Finance that April's a very bad month for both groups, and we'd like to put that in May as a reporting month. Is there a motion to that effect?
it. So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, seconded to add May to the list of quarterly financial reports and delete April. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it and so ordered. Unfinished business, item 5, water and sewer plant updates.
You want to do it for both, A and B?
Yeah,
Okay.
because as soon as Peter saw that we were going to do it for the superintendent, he jumped aboard and said, put me in there too.
We can have it.
Okay, water and sewer plant updates, 5A, Bob Garso, what do you have for
I
us?
don't have really anything, I think probably Doug may have something.
Hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, by the end of June, early July, we will have both our diversion permits for the Little River treatment plant and the well field. So that's moving along fine. All the work has been done, accomplished within the well fields. All we have to do is get the necessary diversion permit, and we're going to start pumping the extra water that we need. The sewer plant is substantially complete. There are some things that have been added by the WPCA to enhance that sewer plant project, and it's expected that the plant, even though it's substantially complete, there are certain things because of the timing of receiving equipment and that type of thing that it's going to be actually finished by December of this year. But for all intents and purposes, the sewer plant is going to be able to operate and move along based on the upgrades that were made to the plant. 2 other things that you should be, or 3 other things you should be aware of in terms of water and sewer. We recently submitted 2 applications. One application is for $4 million to upgrade all 10 sewer lift stations throughout town. The other application is for to install manganese treatment at the new well fields, and also sentinel wells, which are basically wells that determine if there's any pollution that is getting near the well fields. The sewer lift station application came in at $4 million, or the total for that, and the sewer lift station is a little bit, I'm sorry, the manganese treatment and the sentinel wells is a little bit over $2 million. It has all been taken into account by the WPCA, and it will not have to be reflected in any type of rate increase. So whatever the rate increases were that have been passed or will be coming online, we'll take into account the fact that we'll be able to pay for the well fields, all the work that was done in the well fields, and these new applications, both for the lift stations and also the manganese treatment. So those are moving along, and hopefully we'll find out soon from USDA whether we're eligible. One other thing on the WPCA side is that we are working diligently with the Department of Public Health on the water line and water line replacement and relining project. We have yet to get the go-ahead to sign off on the contract with the consulting engineer, the Beta Group, which was selected by the WPCA to do the design work for that project. But we're very close in terms of getting that sign off. And once we do, they'll go into design. And we would hope that maybe we'd be able to start expending funds within this construction season, which is more towards the end of August or early fall. If not, we'll have to wait until the construction season next spring. But things are moving along, and again, the good news is that all of these projects are going to be paid for based on the rate increases that are already in existence or will go into existence in the very near future.
Have you seen any reduction in water as a result of the increased bill of water and sewer rates?
We have seen reduction in water. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we did what they call a supplemental environmental project at the water plant. So we're no
Use that in
longer,
lieu of a
that's
fine,
right.
right?
So not only are we not putting the water into the, taking the water out of the system, but we're actually able to reuse it, so recycle it. So that's one instance where we have seen a reduction in terms of the amount of water that's being used. The other thing that's going to be coming online pretty soon is that there's a process down at the press, what do they call it, the press treatment building, where they press the sludge, and as part of the process they were using potable water. And so the new design for that process will be is that they'll recycle the water there and not use any new water out of the system. So we'll have water savings on that account. That's a double-edged sword. You know, we'd like to conserve water, but by the same token, we won't be getting the water fees in on it.
Thank you, Joe. You're still up. Tech Park update.
This week we'll be having a meeting among all the parties to finally put to bed the issue revolving around the right of first refusal for the Wheelabrator property. Once that's completed and to everybody's satisfaction, we'll be able to proceed to close on the property. Probably the first stage will be to close on the receipt of the 15 acres to the town of Putnam from Wheelabrator for the YMCA project.
When?
I would hope within, I'd say 30 to 60 days, if not sooner.
Why not the whole, only 15?
Because we might want to hold that off until we've had certain things resolved in terms of the zoning issues. We have some planning. We have to do the subdivision plan, so we're thinking that we're going to do the subdivision plan just for the YMCA, the road, and there's a little corner of the property that will be given to the town of Putnam for the that comes across from the existing bridge that has been providing the access to the treatment plant. So it's possible that we'll take all the property at once, but there's a possibility that we'll also do a phase-in, which will do the 15 acres for the YMCA property first, and then.
But that right of first refusal is going to be on all the property, not just on the 15.
That's up for discussion, so we're hoping that can get resolved very shortly.
You can't do anything unless you do that.
Right, but that's going to be resolved when all this is worked out in the very near future.
That is, I understand that, but if we're going to take the 15 to the YMCA, that means that section of it's been worked out?
Yes.
And the other 48 or whatever's left, that other section isn't worked out?
It still hasn't been worked out yet.
Well, why are you doing it in pieces like that?
So we can get the Y project going and we can get the road going.
Yeah, but if it doesn't go on the back 40 or whatever it is, whatever that amount, what would be the point? Just do 15 acres.
The point is that it still would remain in Wheelabrator's hands, and if they decide to sell it or do anything in terms of the gravel, then under the agreement that we have with Wheelabrator, we would still get 50% of any proceeds from the sale of the land and or the sale of any gravel.
So we're going to take 15 acres, put a $2 million bridge in, just for the YMCA?
No, that will then extend the property that's remaining, the new property that's more than 200 acres, that's part of the majority of the tech park.
I know this is not the time for it, but, I mean, but isn't that fly in the face of what this whole thing was to begin with? I mean, it's turned out that, one, it was gonna cost us nothing.
No, that was never the case.
I remember sitting here listening to it.
Well, that was not the case in terms of the YMCA property. There was not going to be any expenses.
But I don't understand how the YMCA has, which is kind of hard to be against, but, and I'm not, but why the YMCA property has turned out to be separate and apart from this whole thing.
Because that project is the first one ready to go.
But we're putting a $2 million bridge, we're going to.
$3 million bridge.
Right, $3 million bridge to this 15 acres where the YMCA is, which is fine.
No, we're going to be putting the bridge and the access road into the entire 65-acre property.
But if you're not going to be able to get the other 40 acres.
That doesn't, because the way this has always been established is the town was never going to necessarily be the owner of the entire property. We would be working in a development sense with any of the other property owners in that. So if it works to our advantage, continue to work with Wheelbrader while these issues are worked out, we have that option. So we have the option available to us that we can still continue to work with Wheelbrader as a property owner in this project and work with them and still maintain our rights under the, not the ground lease, the alternate access road agreement, which gives us the opportunity to recoup the expenses that we paid on putting in the bridge and the alternate access to the ash landfill.
I mean, I'd like to tell you that that's my understanding, but it isn't. My understanding was originally, and coming to any number of meetings, that 65 acres was always a parcel. And that the acreage in the back going off to those other things, that's just something else. I'm talking about that at all. And that the bridge going across Kennedy Drive and what have you and everything else, going into the YMCA was going to go into the rest of this park.
That's correct.
And that the 50 acres that are left, making it 65, was going to be the industrial park with regards to Putnam. Not to other people, but to Putnam. And are you saying that that isn't true now?
It's one of the options that is available.
I mean,
that's one of the options that is being considered in
the thing that bothers me with it is that after all this time that we've spent on this park, in May, next week, now we've got options that nobody heard about to begin with. And we're going to spend millions of dollars on options we don't know about. They don't come in front of anybody. Nobody sees them. I don't know. Where do they come from? I mean, you're obviously negotiating with Wheelbrader. You're obviously negotiating with whoever you're negotiating with. I don't know who you're negotiating with. We don't hear about it. And at the end of the day, here we go, whether we like it or not, whether anybody's got any input. I mean, who's running the show other than yourself?
No, it's part of the process that I'm working with the mayor, I'm working with the Economic Development Commission. Again, these are...
But that isn't how it was presented.
When we're talking about land acquisition or land, whatever we're doing here, we have to have some degree of being able to negotiate those things before it becomes, the actual settlement becomes public.
But nobody says, it doesn't matter, but no one says in the beginning that really what I'm presenting to you doesn't really make much difference because maybe at the end of the years we're going to do something else anyway, but we want you to vote for it up front. That doesn't make sense. I understand what you're doing, but why present it that it's a deal or a formulation of something in 2010, and then in 2014, we're gonna do something else.
Because unfortunately, things do change throughout
Well-
the period of the negotiations.
Well, but I don't know if any of those things at the end of the day justifies all the money we're going to spend on 65 acres, that 15 of them are going to the park, to the YMCA, and nobody knows where the other 50 are going. But we're gonna spend $3 million for the bridge, though.
Well, you're not spending $3 million for the bridge, the state of Connecticut.
Oh, gee, I forgot that I wasn't paying taxes, and I paid on the 15th, state and quarterly. I mean, you know.
So have we still not gotten anyone else interested in going
it's
into
free.
this technology
Again,
park with us?
if I had my druthers, I would have started this process in reverse, but that wasn't the case. We had the opportunity where our state senator was able to get us $3 million for the bridge. Everything that has happened after that sort of is predicated on the fact that we got the $3 million for the bridge. Then what came along is the YMCA decided that they liked this parcel of land over there. We had the $3 million. We thought we were going to eventually, build the bridge to that parcel, and so that project came along. In the meantime, we're trying to do everything else in terms of doing all the planning that's necessary in terms of bringing all the utilities and all the other infrastructure to the remainder of the park, including the remainder of the 62 acres that Wheelabrator owns, which the town said we would accept a donation of those 62 acres, and we would give 15 acres of that to the YMCA. If I had my druthers, we would have started with the entire project in its entirety, come up with a plan where it would cost us $3 million, let's say, to put in the bridge. It would cost us $7 million, whatever, in terms of putting in the entire infrastructure necessary to reach the rest of the plan. But the cards were dealt with us in a different way, and now we're in a process where we're trying to work this all out. And it's like sand. It's always moving. It's a changing.
Where are we on the toads now?
The toads?
Yeah, the
They're
toads.
still supposedly out there, so
I mean, is it still an issue?
it's still an issue.
And
We have to maintain a certain portion of the remainder of the park for conservation purposes for the toads.
so how and when are we going to get this resolved?
As soon as we get the final report from through the
State.
environmental process, in
Which will
probably
be when?
Well, the period ends today, or the 25th.
Eureka.
But we're still looking to have other towns venture with us
That's
for the technology part.
That's correct.
Okay.
So when is there a shovel to be put in the ground for the bridge?
If we get the a positive report through the environmental impact evaluation, and we're finishing up the comment period now, we will have a recommendation that this park is a go based on I haven't heard anything out of the ordinary that says that there's a red flag that was raised during the comment period. So barring that, there will be a draft report submitted with a draft recommendation that has to go to the Office of Policy Management. If the Office of Policy Management signs off on it, hopefully by the end of May, we could go out to bid on the construction of the bridge sometime this summer.
So there's toads and wood turtles holding everything up?
No.
Found 2 toads, and 2 wood turtles, no toads.
But the main thing that's holding this up is not the toads and the turtles. It's the lack of negotiation. That's whatever's going on that nobody seems to know about.
I don't think it's a lack of negotiation, Joe. We have negotiated very hard to hopefully come to some conclusions very shortly. Those meetings and negotiations.
But what
have gone
happens,
on
Peter,
probably,
if those negotiations at the end of the day don't go our way? What do we do?
You can go ahead and guess till the world comes to an end,
Well-
okay? Come on. I mean, they're negotiating. I think what you want to do is you want to know all the details of the negotiation.
Oh, I don't
right?
care about, no, that's not right at all, Bob.
Well, that's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, well, it isn't. It can sound any way you want it to be. But the reality
Yeah.
is that was how that initially was given to everybody with regards to the park.
But it was given to start negotiations. It
No.
wasn't given to go and get that part.
It wasn't started to negotiate. There was a plan by the administration before that was given to us that how this was supposed to go. I mean, everybody can say they never heard it, but it was given. And there was a vote and all those other good things. And
I could be wrong, Joe, but I believe when Bob was discussing that, it was in regards to the Y
Well,
property.
I
It
just,
encompassed the whole project.
somehow or in this, it seems that the Y gets to play. Maybe it should because people run around and certainly have
Well, I
made,
think-
collected money and done very well. Publicity has been excellent with regards to the Y. I mean, the bridge, me having a conversation the other day, saying, get it, get the trees cut and get some flags out there and what have you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the rest of it. I mean, are we going to get that land and sell it ourselves? Or aren't we? If we're not, then we're going to be losing something somewhere in the process. If we can't sell, 5 10-acre parcels or something like, I don't know, whatever it is, you have a map that basically shows them. And if we can't sell those parcels to whoever that may be, what are we going to do then?
If we can't do the whole park.
No, I'm talking about the 50 acres.
The 50 acres.
I mean, the rest of it's just a whole other story about going off in the back. I understand that part of it. I don't know how many acres that comes out. I don't really, it doesn't make any difference.
It's about 200 acres.
About 200 acres. I understand that part of the whole thing. That's not us. But if we can't have those 5 lots to sell, what do we do? With the amount of money that we put in and time we put into this.
We work with Wheelwright work with them in a development partnership with
But
Wheelwright.
weren't we supposed to get that up front?
But if it's restricted by some of these other things that have come up in the meantime, then you try to make the best of the situation, which is one of the options, which is to work with Wheelwright as a development partner.
I assume that
And then
everybody may
we
have
don't-
bought something and they do a title search.
We have title search done.
And the title search said that someone else had the right of first refusal. And how far into the process did we begin to do that?
Very early on in the process. But that wasn't, without going into details,
Yeah.
we can't, there was a changing circumstances there that also complicated things.
Did you hear the last comment he made?
What?
You hear what he said? Go ahead, repeat that one more time.
I heard what he
Change
said.
of circumstances.
It was a change of circumstances.
That means that, this is a fluid situation that they're working with, and we can't seem to accept the fact that they need to negotiate this process through. It's like certain people gotta know what the hell's going on with that whole project. Well, right now, there's nothing to be told. They're negotiating. And I accept that.
Makes it very hard trying to give you an answer, Joe, at this point. But the negotiations are continuing. They have continued. Doug and I met with our attorney last week and again furthered the negotiations. So we're going to continue to keep at it until we have a document or something to tell the people about them.
Can you at least keep us apprised of the situation, because we know it's ongoing and this is a very important issue. Sure, certainly in the cost of it, and I understand where Joe is coming from.
Any more questions?
No. How much more do we get for coal residue? First time I heard that one.
$3 more.
Whoa, I love coal.
And we're getting some. We got
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, we
Is
got
that the first time we've been getting it?
No, we've been getting it for about 5 years.
Yeah, but we get very little.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought,
1,000 cubic yards last
Yeah.
Recently
month.
gotten some, so that's pretty good.
Coal?
Yeah.
Yep.
Coal ash.
Oh, coal.
Yeah.
where's that come out of?
The summer, what's the burn plan in Somerset, I think?
Massachusetts?
Massachusetts.
Oh,
Somerset.
But they can use it in concrete, so
Sometimes we get it.
sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't.
Last quarter, we got a lot.
that's good.
Okay. Fiscal year 2013, 2014 budget. Possible action, vote required. I thought we passed these budgets.
We already did.
That's there just in the event that you wanted to take action based on the public hearing.
Yeah, we usually do. After the public hearing, you take some kind of action. Either add, delete, no?
Or nothing.
Or
Whatever
nothing.
you want to do, you can do whatever you want.
Or nothing.
So we can take some out of the school board budget, because they have 2 people there.
That would be very nice, too.
No, we took that one under advisement already. Leave the mill rate as it was.
Right. So do you want to vote to accept the budgets like this, like the same thing like we just did, just for the record?
And just authorize me to put this in the paper
Yeah,
as it stands.
All right, take a motion.
Motion made, second, to put this budget that we approved.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's got to be done by Friday.
We got you.
.13 mil increase.
Take your pick.
On 1307.
Point
1307?
Point 13.
Point 13 or something?
13.07. 15.07.
1.13.
Yeah.
The increase is
15.07 is the
Don't
new
mess me
mill
up.
rate.
What is it?
Keep them straight, Paul.
15.07.
15? 15.07?
15.07.
It's on page 20 of your package here.
It's a .13 increase.
0.13 increase.
Well, that'd be a barn breaker.
All right, any more discussion on that?
By knee breaker?
Seeing none, all those in favor of giving Denise the authority to put the budget as presented in the paper, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it, so voted.
Meeting's the 8th, right? What's the 8th? May 8th? That's the town meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Now, item 6A, audit presentation. We all received a letter that the auditor cannot come today. Again, he was a month late or a couple months late with the audit, and now he can't come to present the audit. And you penciled in May 7th that he could come. That's the day before the town meeting, correct?
Right,
Yes,
just in
ma'am.
case you wanted the audit information prior to town meeting. If not, they can also come on the Tuesday, our regular meeting in May.
Was there the third,
I think by law, we have to hear these guys.
yeah, we don't go, so it'd be the third Monday in May, so what is that?
Fourth Monday.
Fourth Monday.
Would be the
And
27th.
That's right.
that's the Memorial Day, so you go to the Tuesday.
So it'll
Oh,
be the
that's right,
27th.
too. Yeah, you're right.
So it's either the 7th or the 27th.
We need a motion on the floor to either have the auditors come May 7th, the day before the town meeting, or May 27th, which are regular scheduled Board of Finance meeting.
I mean, given we gotta sit through this, did I say that? No. Anyway, why don't we sit through it on, I mean, the 7th, I mean, the holiday is that, people
I
kind
think we ought
of,
to do the 7th too. Make a motion, Joe.
Do it the 7th?
Do the 7th.
Need a motion.
I make a motion.
Joe Nash made a motion to have the auditors come at May 7th at 7 o'clock, second by Mr. Benoit. Any more discussion? All those in favor of having the auditors come May 7th, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so voted.
7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
Doug, you're gonna have to reschedule a charter revision meeting to another location, not necessarily
Okay.
here. I don't think anybody else is here.
6B, Dan Hebert, rate stabilization account.
I'm going to take that.
Oh, you don't.
Doug, why don't you take that?
I'll take that.
Who's Dan Hebert?
Dan
The
Hebert
fellow
is
from,
our health insurance consultant.
Is there any likeness?
Lockton.
Actually, he's happier than I
That's good to say.
am. As you know, we had a premium stabilization reserve account, which is an account that's established after reconciliation of our insurance claims and premiums at the end of the fiscal year. So for a number of years, we had some very good years, and we were able to build up that premium stabilization reserve up to $1.4 million. Now, you have to understand that of that $1.4 million, that's based on a split between primarily over 50% of the accounting for the on the positive side in that reserve is the Board of Education. The next highest would be the town. Then the Special Service District is included in that. And when they were a part of our group, the Housing Authority was part of that. So we built that up over a number of years. We had approximately 3 very good years in that. The difference between the claims and our premiums basically allowed us to build that up to $1.4 million. As you know, last year we entered into a health insurance collaborative through EastCon, and that included EastCon and 5 other towns, including Putnam and the boards of education from those communities. What happened last year when we reconciled with Cigna, which was last year, we did it as a town and the Board of Education. There was basically $1.4 million in that account at the end of fiscal year 6/30/12. Unfortunately, due to the fact that there was a deficit within that fiscal year, Cigna was looking to take out of that $1.4 million, almost $652,000, to basically spread their ability to pay for the claims. We were able to get that reduced through the efforts of Dan Hebert to reduce that to $467,237.
I'm sorry?
$467,237. So that closed us out in terms of the premium stabilization reserve account and our dealings with Cigna on that basis. So that left a pot in the premium stabilization reserve of almost $941,000. What happened to that is that was wired by Cigna into our reserve, our account at ECHIP. So that money is set aside in ECHIP, and it can only be used for one purpose, which is to either reduce our health insurance costs, or if you wanted to, in terms of giving premium holidays or whatever the case may be, if there was something to that effect. So right now, we are no longer have a premium stabilization reserve account because of the fact that we're basically self-insured through the ECHIP program now. But we were able to take that, the remainder of the premium stabilization reserve of that $941,000 and put it into our account at ECHIP, where it sits today. It has not been touched. In fact, we added to it because under the Affordable Care Act, we were also able to get $60,000. I forget how that worked, but we were able to almost get $60,000, and that also was put into our account. So it's sitting in a claims reserve account. We do not touch it.
We have a line item for it?
Excuse me?
We have a line item for it?
We do not have a line item for it because it's off-site in the ECHIP account. But it's Putnam's money. None of the other towns can get access to it. And it's up to you as the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, as to how to allocate that. As you know, we've had in the past, last year we allocated $60,000 from what was then the premium stabilization reserve to count against any increase in our health insurance benefits last year. My understanding is we did not touch that $60,000 because we did so well financially in terms of the end of the audit. We also put aside $60,000 in this year's budget to take into account because we have a 15% increase on both the Board of Education side and the town government side. And again, if you were to look at that $940,000, if you were to break it down, basically how it would be broken down is about a little less than 65% of that would be associated with the Board of Education. About 29% would be associated with the town of Putnam, and about 6% would be associated with the special service district. Hence how that premium stabilization reserve would have been have their allocations.
So the 29% for the town, that would include the library?
That would include library.
PCA?
That would be PCA.
Is the housing authority in on this?
No, the housing authority is separate. The housing authority is no longer part of our
Okay.
policy.
Okay.
So when they left, they didn't ask for their funds. The unfortunate thing is now that we're in a deficit situation, if they want to participate on our deficit situation, they're more than welcome. But since we're in a deficit now,
65% is Board of Ed?
about 65%, 63.4.
So
And
you're
again,
handling-
the other thing that is included in this is, again, also the employees have a share of this because they contribute towards their premiums. In the town side, it's about 6%. I don't know whether you have varying things on the board side in terms of so that's also including the employees' contributions would be included as part of this total.
Does that explain why Board of Ed's health and life insurance went from $2,090,000 to $2,026,000? So they're down about $64,000 less.
I don't know how they allocate on the basis of their
You know,
budget.
Scott?
No, we're just talking about our premium share.
No, your health and
Line
life
item.
insurance went down
Probably
$64,000.
Probably because of the premium share. I
Could
would
be,
say.
yeah.
So you're controlling that yourself, this particular account? Somebody's got to be controlling it so we know where the money's going.
We're controlling it. We get monthly reports on that.
You personally?
No, I don't personally.
Who is?
There's both the Board of Education and myself and the Special Service District.
Because we certainly want to see an outline of that. I know it's not a liability or a revenue stream, but certainly we should have a record of where this is going. That's all I'm
It's
saying.
sitting in the account. It's sort of like a claim reserve account for our benefit. If you decide that, over a course of, well, as you know, last year we had to eat up almost half of that
Right.
reserve,
Right.
and based on our deficit that we're
Right.
running with the
Right.
Cigna. So it's something that you can keep in the back of your mind, and to make a determination in future years that our claims history really gets out of whack. If you'd like
We
to,
have it available.
you have it available.
And I believe
It's
in
sort of like
pushing
your
it.
fund reserve that you have on the audit. You keep that in reserve, so for the eventuality that if you really have a bad year some year, at least you have
So what's the total amount now you said I want to?
$940,839.
Does it come broken down for that town government?
Yes.
Does? Could you put that in our monthly package?
Yes.
So we have a copy of that every month?
Do you know what the district is going to do with that part?
They're made aware of it, but so far
They're aware of it.
they've elected to keep it in this account also.
In the Board of Ed, we really don't know, we didn't have that answer.
We haven't voted on it. You got any interest on that, Doug?
We're getting a little bit of interest on that. Again, it's the same thing as our other accounts.
0.58.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
So we no longer have a premium stabilization reserve, but we do have a claims reserve through the ECHIP program. If ECHIP, for whatever reason, should fall apart, that money would come back to us, and then we would carry it on our books, Peter.
So will that number change next year at this time if claims or?
You could determine that you would like to use some of that perhaps to offset any claims increase. Right now, the way the budget is established, the only thing that we put in there was $60,000, and that's really only for the general government side, not for the board.
Is that, I'm sorry. go ahead.
No, go ahead, I just had an odd question, I guess. Does each person's percentage get dealt with by that board? Or does it all have to come through this board?
It all has to come through this board.
Okay, I just didn't understand.
Will that amount go down?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
because we're basically self-insured, so we're paying as we go.
Self-insured now, okay.
So, but we're in much better shape than any of the other towns, or
So
in
what
fact,
likely-
Griswold is
in a mess.
wanting to get out of it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you that.
We have a meeting sometime either this week or next week to vote on
Just
whether
on
they
that.
should go, we should let them out without penalty or not. And I don't think that the other members are inclined to let them off the hook.
Really?
Because they didn't give first of all, they didn't give the proper amount of time necessary to
Big East.
So, I'm sorry Dan couldn't make it, but since it's
It's all right.
basically,
Get dinner.
Very much so.
I have another question for you. I just noticed this. On the back pages, the Board of Ed capital 5-year improvement,
yes.
where's the parking lot?
So,
It's in the
so
other
the
one.
other one,
Why would it be with this one?
good question.
It says Board of Ed, 5-year capital plan, 2013-14, we got transportation, 2 buses, no problem. School facilities, technology, and I don't see the other $357,000.
We can possibly make that change for you.
Before it goes
Before it goes out to the town meeting.
You already voted it.
Oh, I know we voted, but it would be nice to get it all together. Because you know somebody's gonna ask that question.
Well, if you mentioned it, yes.
This guy, you trying to slip one through here?
I'm trying to figure out where it is in the list.
See? You lost it. I'll tell you what park lot needs to be paved.
He
It's
wants it
town
in his
hall.
budget now. Did you want it in your budget, is that
Great.
What about those dump trucks?
That's in there.
Hey, why are all the trucks down in Putnam?
What?
Why are all the trucks down in Putnam?
Right now?
Yeah.
I think they're working their way out to East Putnam.
No, they're in the old Putnam,
I can't find that.
Putnam garage, but the
Oh,
police
I don't
station,
know.
it's full of them.
Oh, we still use one in that garage.
Well, no, it's full of trucks. Truck.
I think they're in the district doing their, what is it? Pickup.
Branches and
Branches.
It's on page 13, isn't it? Capital item Board of Ed, parking lot
Yeah.
repair, asphalt.
It's on page
Is that what we're
22
talking
also.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why-
we do.
See, that's what people get aggravated at.
Yeah.
Why would you
Showing
put it on
price.
page 22 and put everything else in 23, and someone's gonna say you snuck that in there? I'm just being the devil's advocate, as they say.
I'm just looking for dump trucks.
You're not getting one. Only if it's a low
Oh,
profile.
you know what I forgot to bring up?
What? You have time to bring it up.
What did I say, dude?
You
There's a
have
dump
time, I
truck.
said, you have time.
There you go.
You have time.
You have time, Peter.
Oh,
Better watch.
21.
And the buses are here too, somewhere.
They're on that page, back page.
But they're also in this line item here.
They're in so many places, Peter.
Yeah. How do you miss them? They're like all over the place.
All over the place. Couple of dozen.
So what, do you get 4 buses now?
No, you only get the 2. No, you're not even getting 2 buses, you're getting vans, you're getting vans.
I have a question on page 8.
8? Where are you? Page 8 of what?
Budget.
All right.
Regular payroll on economic development. Why is that at 99,548? I thought we took that out.
No,
No?
no.
That's 10 for,
Meaning,
That's
isn't
a
that
full,
Delphus?
that's the full time for Delta now,
that's,
working full 35 hours a week.
that's what that 10 is.
Reflects the increase.
Was that not taken out with the
No.
last one? It wasn't taken out?
What do you mean we wasn't taken out?
I thought it was.
There's an appropriation of $10,000.
I thought the increase was taken out, but it's going from 30 to 35, is that what you're saying?
She's gone from, yes, correct. She's,
Right.
she's, her furlough day, she won't be taking furlough days anymore.
Peter, what you took out was the postage. It was $5, you zeroed it out.
All right, I'll succumb to that answer.
Any other business to lawfully come before this?
Just one thing.
Go right ahead, Pete.
We should have a review of Don Johnston, our planner. It's due, overdue, as to a progress report in terms, what is he doing, what has he done, what is on his plate? Because I don't have an idea.
Peter, if I ran the guy over, I wouldn't know who the hell he is. I'm telling you. I've never seen the fellow.
He's so meek, you wouldn't know that, he wouldn't say a word anyway.
Well, I thought what you're saying, we had proposed that.
We did, but I'm bringing it up again because we haven't received
I
it.
don't know if he's the first in the building, but he appears to be the last one to leave.
He may be very good.
Maybe Denise,
Well, we'd like
could
to
you send him a note or a little letter to
Jeff?
the concern that Peter has, that we get this report from him?
Start with
Well, I don't know, is it from him or is it from somebody above him?
Does he work for you?
Well, it works for me.
Everybody works for
Works
Doug.
mayor.
Okay.
Everybody works with Doug.
Just one other
Send
thing
a
to
little
do.
note.
So do,
Just nothing more, 4 or 5 pages, single space.
Even my report isn't that long.
Denise, you type this up like this? This is much better than the other thing. I need my glasses, I can read these numbers.
These you can read.
Right, thank you, Peter.
They increased the font size for you guys.
That's what these-
60.
So May
Yeah, town meeting.
Tell me.
8th, 7 o'clock,
You are-
please,
7:30.
not
You
7:30.
It's gotta be
I'll be
7:30
there.
because.
And how many
Charter,
cars?
charter, yeah.
The night before can be
I
seven.
agree with you.
No, no, somebody runs it.
I'm on that charter revision committee. We can
Yeah,
change
we
it
need to
seven.
start
Okay, I'll
turning
put
these
the special
into like
request in the board.
6:30.
There you go,
6
I'm with
o'clock
you.
or something.
Why did they change
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Because they had slow launches in those days.
Yeah.
People like to stay up.
There was
just
nothing
like the
better.
inauguration must be 8 o'clock.
Blow the candles out.
There was nothing better to do than have a meeting at 7:30.
Any other business to come before this board? If none, motion to adjourn. Oh,
Wait,
What?
Sorry.
What?
We had spoken previously about setting, a special meeting after the town meeting, potentially to set the millrate.
all right.
Oh, that's.
We always do
That's
that right
right,
after.
right
Right
after.
after the meeting, we can do it.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So after the town meeting.
That's what we
We'll let
know.
everybody leave and then we sit down.
We sit down and
Before the selectmen, yes.
Yeah.
Do that.
And
Yeah, do
with
it.
the transfer of the computers, I'm missing the 25th and the
It'd be more fun done with the
28th.
blue pouch.
I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
Sure we can do
Line it
that?
up.
No, but-
He just said we.
Okay, with that,
Big motion again?
yes.
Any motion?
Motion made by Mr. Nash to adjourn,
I'll second it.
second by Susie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Gavin?
Nice voice.